Hello and welcome to Behind the Nightmares, where you can get the stories behind the stories of your favorite episodes of the Nightmare Realm. I'm your hostess, Kat Fischer. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we will be discussing the Nightmare Realm episode, The Gypsy Box. Joining us is the creator of the Nightmare Realm, Rob Ferreri. Thanks for being here and talking about the show, Rob.
As always, it's my pleasure to be here and talk about the show.
How did you come up with the story for the Gypsy Box?
The Gypsy Box is probably the oldest existing piece of work that I have. I wrote it back in high school. It was part of the Teen Arts Festival that my school was a part of. It was a way to highlight creative writing and artwork for the students and to encourage creativity. There were categories for short stories, poems. There were a few different art categories, but they kind of handled them on their own. And it was a lot of fun. Me and a couple of friends of mine had gotten our work accepted, and we were the first ones that our school had gotten into the contest for about 8 years. So we were thrilled. We were beyond excited that we were actually able to get in. And it was a lot of fun. There was little panels where people would read all the different stories or be able to have little art galleries set up where the different artworks were displayed. And in the creative writing story categories, they would have little Q&As where people got to read the stories or the poems and then would get to actually ask the authors questions. So it was a lot of fun getting to interact and talk about the work and to get to hear about other people's work and what they did as far as their creative processes and where their stories came from and kind of their backgrounds. And it was a lot of really good people there, and it was a lot of fun. I would love to do something like that again.
What inspired the setting and time period for the story?
The setting was actually inspired by the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing setting Ravenloft. A few friends and I had been in the middle of a campaign, and we were using that game world. So when I was thinking of stories for the Teen Arts Festival, that atmosphere just kind of kept popping into my head in that setting. So that's kind of where I went with the story.
Would you ever do a sequel or follow-up to this story?
No, I wouldn't do a sequel or a follow-up to it. I think the story is what it is and does what it does, and there's really no need to go back. I think if you went back to the well, it would kind of take away from what was there originally. I'd rather just let it be.
Do you think the story would work as well in other settings or time periods?
Yeah, I do think it would work in pretty much any setting or time period. It's got a very simple message. Don't be an asshole to people just because they're different or you don't understand them. That you don't have to necessarily fear what's different. That if you take the time to learn and get to know things that are different or people that are different, you see that maybe they're not so different.
Is there anything you would change about the story if you were to write it today?
Oh, I'm sure it would be very different. If for no other reason than I'm a very different person than when I wrote it originally. It's been a long time, and in decades I've changed quite a bit. So I'm sure if I went and sat down to write this story right now without any preconceived knowledge of it, it would look much different than it would today. But it's hard to say how that would look because I do have those preconceived notions of the story and have known it as it is for so long that it's a very foreign concept to imagine it differently.
Was the box always empty, or was there ever a draft where there was something inside? And if so, what?
No, there was never a draft where there was anything in the box. The box was never meant to be a punishment. There wasn't ever meant to be like, a scorpion or a snake or a poison dart or gas. It's the gypsies weren't evil. He had misjudged them. They were not evil or devil worshippers. They were just regular people. They didn't mean any harm to him at all. So his overreaction was kind of met with a lesson. They kind of showed him, yeah, look, there's consequences for being a dick. But they didn't want to hurt him, just teach him a lesson.
Thank you, Rob, for being here and thinking outside the box with us.
It's been fun, Kat. See you next time.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us on our foray behind the nightmares. Join us next week when we discuss Abducted. Don't forget to go to thenightmarerealm.net and see everything the Nightmare Realm has to offer. Good night.
Whispers in the shadows deep, no souls dare to sleep. In the land where dreams do bleed, nightmares they do creep. Eyes that watch from darkest skies, shadows overheads. Every step a silent scream, walking with the dead. Whispers cold, chilling to the bone. Voices from the past unfold, secrets carved in stone. Lurking in the midnight hour, phantoms start to rise. In the grip of darkest power, tears behind the eyes. Come behind the nightmares, see what lies beneath. Every tale of sorrow hides a restless wraith. Stories of the horror behind the veil, in the realm of shadow, terrors in detail. Mirrors show a twisted face, echoes from the grave. In the silence, find a place where the spirits rave. Specters whisper in the ear, secrets they confide. In the land of endless fear, shadows never hide. Candles flicker in the gloom, eyes that never blink. From the nightmare's deepest room, stare into the brink. Every story holds the key, every ghost a clue. In the darkness we can see truth inside the blue. Come behind the nightmares, see what lies beneath. Every tale of sorrow hides a restless wraith. Stories of the horror masked behind the veil. In the realm of shadow, terrors in detail.